So what we're calling demons, they're more so astral level custodians. That's what they really are. Astral level custodians. They're the cleanup crew. So their job is to do the cleanup. Whether it be egregores or if you actually believe in different spirits, the purpose is exactly the same. The power and the reach is exactly the same. You're still going to deal with a principality that's put in place. You still got to fight the same idea of it, right? Whether it be a physical Satan or the idea of a physical Satan, you're still going to find yourself going head up with this adversarial energy should you identify it on the battlefield of your mind. So how do we make this practical for ourselves? Well, the adversary is easy to spot based on his description and canonized scripture. He's called the designated accuser. They call him the designated accuser. Just like when people come back from the club, usually in your crew, if y'all was all carpooling in the carpooling years, you had what was called a designated driver. This would be the person that the whole night they're not going to do any drinking. It's just going to be the rest of the crew. You know, they're going to be the one that wishes they could drink. It probably came down to a bet. It probably came down to a draw, or it's somebody's turn to be the designated every week. So that could be the case with that. But in either case, you still find yourself up against this tyrannical force that could either be a personage or an idea, but you're still facing the same stronghold all the same. So when dealing with people, you're not looking for the entity, because how could you prove it? You're looking for the characteristics of the entity. Essentially, their power and their range, should you believe it, according to most mythologies anyway, has a certain tone of omnipresence to it, enough for you to approach them in a geokinetic sphere. So to be able to handle them and tackle them everywhere. Going into with the idea that the battlefield is not as consequential as the battle itself. So you're looking for this accusing nature. You don't have to go sniffing out for it. It's not far. You'll hear it around. Just keep an eye out for accusing tones in very adverse, negative, pessimistic, antagonistic tones. These things make up the energies of the entity known as Satan, and simultaneously the ideas related to the thought form known as Satan. Then you'll be able to figure them out. You'll see signatures, spiritual signatures and signposts of who this particular entity is. This is what makes the study of angelology and demonology so very critical now, because it gives you a blueprint on all of the different characteristics that these governing thought forms take. The thought forms that were associated to be the guardians over this particular demiurge or this particular section of astral territory. However you want to broach it, there are beings, a government, and a world that operates in the astral realm. To deduce the astral realm to simply the sleep state is to go into the astral realm truly unequipped, truly ill-equipped. A big part of equipping yourself for the astral realm is what is known as transcendental meditation. Bringing yourself to a state that is akin to sleep, but not quite sleep. And from there, using your conscious awareness to blend in with the merging, the breaking in of the powers of the subconscious, to be able to hone that at the last minute, right at the threshold of wakefulness and sleep. This is a mentality to assume. This makes you more active during the day. You're not deducing your entire day to just a little routine before bed. You're doing all of the heavy lifting and all of the progressing for the rest of the day. Using all of your wakefulness moments, being a true steward of time. And time flows depending on what kind of steward over time you are. If you're a person who wastes time, time is going to fly by. If you're a person who uses time and manages it very well, you'll find extra time left over. These are the things that constitute different time flow. And if you're in a system that is giving you its own feedback loop in response to this sense of time flow, then essentially you build a machine. This time has machinations on it that are machine-like, mechanical. You can almost feel what 15 minutes feels like when it passes based on the way you handle time and deal with time. You can tell the difference. You can tell when 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed, 15 minutes. You can tell the difference between a half hour and an hour because you have become time sensitive. And really more so, time responsible, time responsive. To engage time in this manner helps you on the astral realm where there is no time. You start to bring in timeless energies into this temporal time paradox known as the 3D experience. And you'll find yourself in a season, a good season that you can prolong, a happy season that you could prolong. It doesn't have to end on autopilot. It doesn't have to be a preset date. It doesn't have to be deterministically set. But you can extend it, or what the scriptures call redeeming the time. You can redeem the time. The rights of this is just simple consideration. I mean, any other presentation of this would really be the promotion of a product of some sort. But essentially, consideration is the rites or the ritual necessary. It's just a change in thought process. And the repetitive changing of that thought process will eventually mold it, make it a more permanent thing, more automatic, more autonomous. In the astral realm, you have these type of things going on. And so the pull gets pretty strong, especially if you find yourself getting lost, or if you don't know how to meditate. If you don't know how to meditate, the astral realm is going to be chaotic almost every time you approach it, especially depending on whatever your last subject matter or entertainment was before you drifted off to sleep. And subsequently, if you're going through life unconsciously, not literally sleep, but not mindful either, what we call sleep, more like a colloquialism. Sleep meaning the opposite of woke, simply the opposite of aware, not paying attention to certain things, not reading into life, not looking into the deeper meanings, not having a better than basic understanding. And these things, they're righteous to be grasped at. The grasping at these things is a noble ideal. This is what the philosophers of old did. They were reaching for the concepts, stretching their minds, stretching their mental faculties to find out two things. What is this life all about? And how do I respond to what life is all about? And these questions, while we answer them consciously in our waking state, our heart responds in the subconscious realm, in the astral realm, where we sleep. And this is where everybody lives. So you're going to find, if you still held on to the tooth fairy is there. If you still held on to Santa Claus is there. If you still held on to all the ghouls and goblins from your Halloween parties, then guess what? They're going to be up in the dream. If you was watching a movie, the movie's going to make its way into the dream, onto the astral space, because thought forms, that's where they live at, whether they're developed or not. So you'll have some half-bred, half-constructed monstrosities in the astral realm that really makes it appear like a hellscape due to the chaos and the incomplete nature. Because a thought form is essentially that, until somebody can solidify it, embody it, is essentially just an idea. And if the idea be loose like that, you can stack anything onto an idea and you could turn it into something else. It's like giving somebody a chain message. The first two people might hear the message loud and clear, but by the time you get to the 10th person, the message is all scrambled up. And so the astral realm was like taking one thought form, one piece of information, and just running it through the mill, passing it through a million ears, a million people passing a complicated message down. So by the time this entity that you called God, by the time you finally get to it, by the time the word finally gets to you, it's been edited by so many different groups. The text has been changed, it's been edited, parts of the text been deleted, parts of the text have been added. By the time the message got to you, it's been polluted. So to repurify that, you have to dig into what is called insight, intuition. The within part is the cleansing nature and the cleansing description of a thing. So with that being said, Super T Sigma of Sigma Programming, y'all stay motivated, y'all stay wise. Peace.